Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Tuesday early comic review show. This is the day of the week where we get all of our comics in. Most of these do not release until tomorrow, but we sit down, we take a lunch break, and we divide it up. We read all our favorites so that we can give you guys some spoiler free reviews.
It's a very, very big week.
Yes,
Biggest in months, probably.
seriously, yeah. Unbelievable how many comics arrived over the last 48 hours and how many we've read. Luckily, some of these we got to read previews of
Yeah.
weeks past, a lot of the future state stuff, because otherwise we wouldn't have had time. We would have been doing the show like an hour and a half later.
Yeah.
So, but some really big books. So stay tuned. You probably see something you want to hear about. We're going to get through them all. I guess I will start things off. I read the latest issue of Crossover, Donny Cates' Image comic, his new sort of baby. So Crossover number 3 was very interesting. I have to talk about it without spoiling it.
Yeah.
I will say that it is the first issue that truly is a crossover. I won't say who or whom it crosses over with, but it does have characters from other comics in it. Now, he's been going around in interviews, from what I've read, shouting, issue 3 is the biggest deal, the biggest deal. Now, I'm not trying to upplay it that much. I'm not saying you're going to, get to the crossover part of it and be like, oh my lord, I can't believe it, get me 20 issues. But what I do like is it is a promise that because he does have another creator-owned character in it, that how many more creator-owned characters are going to pop up in this, and how long until even bigger companies go, you know what? Why not have our character in this book? It's well written. All these characters keep popping up. So let me get into the variants because I think this will help me talk about it a little bit more. So here is the Todd McFarlane variant for it, and notice she's reading a book there, and which one did I choose?
Men.
Yeah, that's Nowhere Men. Now, I'm not going to confirm or deny if they're in it, but this came with a bunch of secret variants. There were actually, we got 7 different ones of these. There's ones where she's reading Spawn, ones where she's reading God Country,
Savage
Dragon, Cyber Force. And to me, all this is just flagging that Cates is going, hey guys, you don't know who's going to be in this book. You don't know what creators I've talked to. And the great thing is every Image comic can be that way. All Image comics are creator owned. I will give a hint and say that at least one part of this crossover is with character or characters that are not from Image. I'll say that. So maybe that'll whet the appetite.
I think that's kind of what everybody's like. After what was teased at the end of issue 1, it's like, are they going to go that far? Are they going to reach beyond their boundaries into...
It does a bit, but I wouldn't say, once again, don't expect you're going to see a character that you're like, oh my god. In fact, it's almost a little bit of a joke, but it is, I guess, it's showing the tip of the iceberg of where this could go. Now, story-wise, you have the main character, Ellie. I actually haven't really shown the full thing. You have the main character, Ellie, who is trying to get this little girl who is from comic books back to her parents. Meanwhile, Ellie's parents are inside of the dome, where all the superheroes are, and she secretly wants to find a way in. You see the shadow of sort of a mech on there. Something like that does happen.
Wow.
It's not just a cover. And so that's sort of what's going on with it. It's well written. Cates is not writing it to where it's super action packed or anything. He's taking his time. He's getting to know the characters. Some of the characters finally get together. So I thought it was a solid third issue, but I'll say what I've said about the other 2, which is I've enjoyed all of them, but they all leave me wanting the next one, which is a good thing. But at the same time, it's not like the best read of my life yet.
Yeah.
And that's saying a lot, because at the beginning of this one, he starts out directly talking about Watchmen, like directly talking about
It's crazy.
And there are some there are some Watchmen, major sort of allusions to Watchmen in this. So there are a few other variants. There is the
classic
variant, get your favorite artist to draw on it yourself. There is a 1 in 10 Jeff Shaw Virgin variant of the original cover. We're selling this one for $8. We do have some of these left. And there is the 1 in 25 black and white of the same thing. We're selling for $15. Same cover, just black and white. You get to see all the pretty pencil marks and everything. And it's just more rare. Lastly, we have the 1 in 50 Ellipses cover for $25. The main character, her name is Ellie, which is short for Ellipses. That's what her parents named her. I have a feeling that will figure in greatly. So that's the first one I read.
So I'm going to talk about what could be, in a week of really big books, this one has kind of taken the step forward. So this is Star Wars: The High Republic. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to talk about this one. This is the start of a whole new chapter in the Star Wars mythos, taking place 200 years roughly before the Phantom Menace, and has all new characters except for one, which you probably have heard who it is. It's even on one of the variant covers. There's a new threat to the galaxy. There is this new space station that's kind of set up as a beacon, being like, all weary travelers and people from planets we've never heard of, you're welcome here. Well, that's a big deal in this. Now, I don't want to spoil too much of it because this is going to be a big crossover between novels, comics, Star Wars Adventures from IDW is going to have a High Republic book. So, but this is definitely just starting out with introducing some of the characters, the concepts, the time frame, and then at the end kind of hints at what the bigger picture to this will be. But we wanted to mention, if this is something you're interested in, we are still selling it to pull box customers. If you have a pull box with us and this is something you want, let us know, because this is already selling for like $30 an issue or something crazy. We did not get, we ordered a lot, and since then and now, more and more people have asked for it.
Yeah, we have very limited amounts, and so we're going to support the people that have pull box with us.
Yes.
So if you have a pull box with us and you would like a issue of Star Wars High Republic #1 first print, let us know. We will hook you up.
Yes. But another great way to say, watch our shows, watch our Friday show. We talked all about this. I went on and on about this book, how this was going to be a big deal. Surprise, surprise, it is a big deal.
Yeah.
So that's just, if you need another reason to watch our Friday Comics from the Future show, let this be an example of, we have a good idea about what's going to be big coming out.
Yeah, we highlight a lot of comics that you can order every Friday, but then we sort of extra emphasize certain ones, and that one was one we were like,
yeah, I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
It's all new characters. Yeah. You know, it's sort of a no-brainer.
I've heard this talked about for since Star Wars Celebration last year, year before that. They were talking about this multimedia kind of event they're doing, and so yeah, if you have a pull box with us, let us know that this is something you want, because even then, our quantities are very limited.
Yep. Okay, so we're just going to stay on the Donny Cates train here. I don't mean to do this like every other week. But I read the latest issue of Venom, issue number 32. So this takes place after the events of King in Black #2. So I'm not going to spoil that one. It hasn't been too long. The smoke is still clearing from the end of King in Black #2. So here's what I'll say. It'll sound a little cryptic. People who know will know. People who won't, I won't be ruining it for them.
Wink, wink.
But Eddie Brock is still at the center of this issue. Okay, he is. Now, some of you might be, that's odd. I thought he was, busy or, elsewhere. they're very clever about it, okay? And it didn't make me feel like it was any sort of cop out at all. What you saw at the end of issue 2 is still what is there. What happens in this one is you get to learn the true extent of what the word codex means. They've been throwing that around in
A
Venom
lot,
for,
yeah.
a year and a half at least. They've been
Mhm.
talking about codexes. Um, you find out what that is, and it allows them to continue telling a story with Eddie where he's both sort of there and not there. And I thought it was very clever,
Mhm.
personally. Um, there are also some surprise allies that he comes across who are people who used to be bonded with symbiotes.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they're going to try to help Eddie, but ultimately, you have to sort of question, will it matter at all? He's in a really bad predicament, and I after I read it, I immediately told Andy what was up with that. I was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
this is really cool. The Codex thing, blah blah blah. Like, here's how they're doing it. Here's how Eddie is,
Hmm.
the main character." And we've been batting around the idea of where this could go for Venom in the future. We think that this may all have long-lasting effects and not just be one of these things that gets erased quickly.
Yeah, by the last issue of King in Black, oh, everything returns back to normal. Seems almost too big to be able to do that. Too many
Yeah.
things have been let out that you can't contain again.
As it gets closer, and on one of our comics from the future, maybe one of us will say the theory, but we got to let people catch up. So, anyway, Venom number 32, very cool. There's a couple awesome variants. Check out this one, the Venom versus Aliens variant.
I love the little whatever button or logo or whatever they're using for this Alien month.
Oh, I
The little thing above the
I see
barcode.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's really cool.
let's show. That is very cool. I'm used to looking for the nullified
I know.
wax stamp. There's also this variant.
Does that variant make sense after reading the issue? Why it's Venom, but it's a big picture of Spider-Man?
No.
Okay, just checking.
Nope, they just wanted to remind you Spider-Man's been a big part of King in Black.
Yeah.
I mean, Spider-Man, he tried to help and save Eddie Brock in issue 2. So we also have the Stegman sketch version of that. It's a 1 in 100 for $80.
That one's so good. Like the I don't know. As a Spider-Man fan, that one's just awesome.
Yep. All right.
So next up, we have. It's kind of funny talking about these because I don't know what order to talk about them in. So I'll just go with the one that I guess chronologically happens first. So that is Dark Knight's Death Metal number 7.
Yep, another big book this week.
Big book, and it's kind of funny because you would think everybody who's reading it's reading it, and then they're going to finish it out and then move on to Future State or whatever. But no, issue 7 is really big, and people are asking about it. People who weren't getting it, because this does have the first, I guess, in continuity in what do you call it when it's in the timeline?
Yeah, it's just first sort of within temporal continuity.
First temporal continuity.
Yeah.
That's where we've gotten in
Because it's
comics.
Before Future State.
It's before Future State. It's the appearance of Yara Flor, Wonder Woman, the next Batman. I can't remember if there's anyone else in it. I don't remember if
there seems like there's a couple surprises.
Yeah.
There's so much packed in that book. I tried to flip through it, and I was like, you can't flip through this one.
Yeah. It's like kind of a Where's Waldo of a character's in there somewhere.
For the ending and the prologues.
So this is a really big issue. I feel like it ended Dark Knight's Death Metal very well, and it has the long talked about 2 epilogues. Now they're interesting because yes, they're epilogues. They're supposed to tease what's coming up. We still don't really know in what form these epilogues are going to take, but it is a very interesting thing that we do get this kind of hint at what DC will be doing in the future using some characters. I know a lot of people have been like, well, what's DC doing after Future State? There's less titles coming out and everything. This is any hint. You're going to have a lot more titles announced. I think they were just waiting for this to come out so it didn't spoil what comes next. But on top of that, it's just really cool to see. You know, we know this big battle's been going on between all the heroes and villains and everyone in between in the DC universe against the Batman Who Laughs in his ultimate form, and we see the culmination of that. And also in this issue, and you see on the cover, this was, it always feels like a Batman story, but this was actually a Wonder Woman story. And I think that's awesome. And I feel like she really gets some really good moments to shine in this. So this is another one that really hot. Let us know if you want it, because we are limiting to one per customer.
One per
because
customer on that one.
this is a week of just ginormous books that everyone wants.
Lots of cameos, lots of first appearances
It is.
in a lot of books, but really exciting ones.
Yeah. All of them are not just throwaway characters. It is like, nope, this is going to be the next year of storytelling.
It's not like Superman's dog Crypto had a litter of puppies, and
don't give away
that's
the
their
climactic
first
ending.
Yeah.
So they also has some really, really cool variant covers. So we have the David Finch Batman Who Laughs. I think it's also cool that all of the variants for this one are Batman Who Laughs. I will not say if that relates anything to what happens in the story. Then we have the Jay Lee variant, which is super cool, where you see the Darkest Night kind of ripping out of Batman Who Laughs. And then we have, lastly, the Art Germ, which I love this. It makes the Darkest Night kind of look like a shadow monster. Like, you can tell, like, maybe he's standing off to the side somewhere, or that's actually him. But really, really cool. Great way to end off this giant event. And in a second, we'll talk about what comes next.
All right, so I read a very cool little indie book from Boom, from their Boombox label, called Last Witch #1. So this book is very Celtic inspired in both its language, its setting, and its style. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard a book described as, it's very Celtic.
When you read it, you will see from the sigils to sort of the way that they speak. They don't lean into it too much. It's not like the way the Pikeys speak.
I was about to say, is it really like phonetic?
No.
Okay,
they don't go with phonetic. They go with word choice.
Oh, okay.
But it was cool because it helped me hear their voices. But just the setting was that way. So basically, it's about this girl who has a mysterious mark on her arm. Guess what? It looks like a Celtic sort of knot thing.
Should get that checked out.
Anyway, she's trying to prove that she's brave by going to this witch's tower on the one night where the witch goes out to hunt. She doesn't really believe in the witch. She thinks the witch is a bunch of hokum. And some people believe in the witch, some don't. And she figures, well, if there's one night I'm going to go to the tower and prove I'm brave, it'll be the night when the witch isn't there. All you have to do is
I
make
don't
sure...
believe in.
Yeah, she's a kid. Kids both are afraid of the dark, but also I'm not afraid of the dark. This is an all ages book, but I had a great time reading it. I didn't feel like it was kiddie at all. In fact, I would say you need to be at least probably 14 or so to really enjoy it. The art inside is really good. It's very reminiscent of Disney movies. It has that sort of art style to it. So it has a variant right here I was going to show. That is the girl and her little brother as they're in the woods. You just take two siblings, you put them in the woods with some accents, and you put a witch in there and you have fun.
You have a fairy tale.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I will.
Oh, here comes a big part of the show, right?
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and do. I'm gonna wait for that. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about King in Black: Return of Valkyries. I almost just called it Return of Valkyries, and I would be so mistaken. This is King in Black: Return of Valkyries. So this is definitely a King in Black tie-in. It even alludes. So the Valkyries. If you don't know your Norse mythology, are kind of there to take heroes who have fallen off the battlefield. They die, and they take them on to Valhalla or wherever the afterlife is. So, and we know that Jane Foster, who was Thor for a little while, is now the only. She was the only Valkyrie
Right.
for a while, but looks like she's getting. Maybe she's not the last Valkyrie, and there's some more out there that she has to get. But what makes this a King of Black tie-in is really interesting. One, there's a character in it that something really bad happened to.
Had a rough time.
Had a real rough
in
time.
King of Black #1.
And so it's her job to ferry him on to the afterlife. Him or her. I didn't specify. Maybe. But it's interesting because it basically says in the opening, like, if Null has his way, she's gonna pretty much have to take the population of the world to the afterlife.
Get really busy.
Yeah, so Null really presents an issue for someone in her position. But I thought this was a very interesting book. You see the 4 Valkyries on there. There's really only kind of 2 talked about, but one of them, not a spoiler, is the Valkyrie from Thor Ragnarok, the movie. This isn't her first appearance. Her first appearance was back in Exiles, a book from quite a few years ago, but she does play pretty heavy into this, and you can definitely tell that Marvel is getting ready to use her in a really big way. So it's a little bit of a tie into King of Black, also introducing kind of some more mythos and Valkyries and everything that we could see pop up later. I imagine there's going to be some series after this, maybe in a Valkyries series, we're going to see these characters. But it also has some variants. So we have the 1 in 10 design variant, which is the Valkyrie from the movie. I never know what to call them because they just call them Valkyries. I think she has a name.
Is it like Danny or something?
Well, there's Danny Moonstone is...
It sounds like Moonstone, but I think it's different.
Yeah. And then there is the Hidden Gem variant. Some classic Valkyrie artwork. This is 1 in 25, and we have this for $30. And that character concept one is $15.
All right, so also out this week, just to get all the Donny Cates stuff out there and out of the way, Thor #11 is out. So I took a little gander at this. So this has nothing to do with Black Winter. We're past all that stuff. This stuff has to do with Donald Blake. He's taken over. He's trapped Thor in the land where he's kept by Odin. And now he has Thor's powers, and he's going around doing his own thing. This issue, he kind of shows what his plan is. What is he going to do? It isn't just trapping Thor. It's more than that. There is at least sort of one death revealed in the issue, and there's also a surprise at the end, a surprise character that hasn't been seen in a while. What I would say is, to just sum it up quickly, this Thor really appeals more to people who know Thor's history.
Yeah.
Donald Blake, that's a deep cut.
That's a very Silver Age Thor.
Yeah, so Donny Cates is drawing from older stuff because that's what Donald Blake knows.
Mm-hmm.
Who's he going to want to interact with? People from back then. So if you're interested in learning more about past Thor stuff, I think this is a really palatable way to do it. I've thought it's been a really good read.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed this story arc with Donald Blake a lot because it's very where you have Black Winter, which is very like cosmic.
Yeah.
This is a very personal thing for Thor. It's basically his other half.
Yep, and meanwhile, Thor is stuck in the realm that he never knew where Donald Blake had to stay, and he's stuck in there, finding out what's been going on in there.
It's a really rough neighborhood. We'll say that.
the last defenders of the realm, they've been all sent to this dimension, this blood dimension. That's the name of the dimension. It's not just covered in blood. And they're there trying to figure out what to do, and Beta Ray Bill has kind of an interesting plan. So
cool.
That's just a little snippet for those of you who are into that or wondering what's going on. We do have 1 in 25 Klein variant for $20 available.
Okay, so here we go. This is week 1 of Future State. We have been
Yes.
talking about Future State over and over for weeks and weeks and weeks, telling you get ready for it. It's coming. Um, it's finally here. We have the first Future State books. I would definitely recommend if you're reading Death Metal, read Death Metal #7 before you jump into these because I feel like it's a natural progression of them. So I'm going to kind of spotlight a few. They're kind of the ones we've been spotlighting the whole time, but they are definitely kind of billed as being the big ones in this.
Yep. And this is wave one.
Yeah.
These are the number ones for this week. Next week, there's going to be, I think, like 3 to 5 new number ones next week.
I want to
as
say
well.
like this month or this week is like a big one for Future State. Then the next couple of weeks have like two
Just
or
a
three,
few,
and
yeah.
then next month we'll have one big week and then a couple of little
Yep.
ones. So if it seems like a lot, it may be for this week, but it will kind of taper off. It'll be a little bit easier to digest.
And all the normal DC books are pretty much on hold.
Yeah, so
it
it's not
gives
like
people a
you're
chance
doubling
to-
up on Wonder Woman. This is your Wonder Woman book pretty much
Yeah.
for the months. So I will begin. I'll talk about Wonder Woman, which we've talked about a few times. But I do want to reiterate, this is a really, really fun book. We were talking about it before. Like we kind of had our expectations for what this Wonder Woman Yara Flor was going to be, because we only have one other Wonder Woman really to base our idea of Wonder Woman on. It's very regal, very proper, strong, but kind of gentle in the way she speaks and everything. This is definitely more of a down-to-earth, funny, tough, kind of mischievous Wonder Woman. She's got a little edge to her.
She does, yeah. She's more like somebody you could have a laugh with and go share.
You wouldn't be. I don't
something.
feel like you would be as intimidated being around this Wonder Woman than you would Diana Prince, where you would be like, I don't know what to say. You're like perfect. But this Wonder Woman is super fun. I have a feeling we're gonna learn because I think this one's only 2 issues. We're gonna learn what her kind of not her deal, but how she got this position, about her weapon, all that stuff. Going forward, this is more of a kind of toss you into the middle of her world, and you get to figure it out as it goes. You get to kind of meet her friends and everything that are.
Yeah, she's got her one like fairy friend that you meet.
Yeah, her Pegasus.
Right.
That is pretty funny how she talks about it and everything. But this is written and drawn by Joelle Jones, who we already know is doing the continuing story of this Wonder Woman after March, because it wasn't in the March solicitations, but it'll be later on this year. This story is continuing from the same creative team. So you can jump on it here and just continue on, and I think people are really going to react well with this Wonder Woman. I think it's very accessible.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Megan was the first to read it, and she's our co-host on Friday's show, and she loved it. She was like, "It's really good." And then I think maybe I read it next, and I was like, anyway, we all 3 read it at different times, and afterwards each one was like, "That was really good."
Yeah,
it was not the Wonder Woman I expected, but really, really cool.
It's
and
an
fun.
easy read. I don't feel like it's continuity heavy or like dialect heavy. It's just it flows. It's really fun. It's really funny. So I highly recommend Future State Wonder Woman. I will show briefly. We do have some of the variants. These are also limited, but we do have them. So you have the beautiful Jenny Frison variant cover. And then we have the Wonder Woman 1984 Adam Hughes variant, which a lot of the books this week do have the Wonder Woman 1984 variants. Probably won't be showing all of them, but just some of the key ones with books that we're showing off.
Once again, it's a big week.
Yeah. I will let Jason speak mostly about this one because you're actually already on issue 2 of this.
Yeah, next up is the next Batman. So there is a new Batman in town. I think everybody knows it is somebody related to Lucius Fox. That is all I will say. I spent weeks and weeks unraveling the mystery, reading everything I could. I made a prediction, and my prediction was right. So I'm really proud of that. The next Batman is very cool. It is a different Batman than you've ever seen before. The way he thinks, the way he acts. At the same time, I think Bruce Wayne would be pretty proud of him. We're still learning his motivations, though. This is a 4-issue series. Um, it has been claimed enough in interviews. It's not a spoiler for me to say. They are claiming, the writer is saying that at the end of this, he will have somehow saved Gotham in a way that the previous Batman never has. I'm 2 issues in. I can't guess how that'll be. That's a pretty big promise. But I will say the first 2 issues are great. It also has a lot of backup stories in it that are really good as well. We've sort of talked this one to death in the past, so I don't want to go on and on. But this is the first appearance of the next Batman. Just like the Future State Wonder Woman is the first appearance of Yara Flor, the new Wonder Woman. So we got some variants here. This one,
I think that's an Oliver Coipel variant, which it looks like he doesn't have an easy time being Batman.
Yep. And then we have the Wonder Woman 1984 variant.
It's the J. Scott Campbell variant. Got some really big artists to do these.
We got several other Future States to tell you about real quick. I bet they're all out. They're all out today also. DC is out today, so.
So next we have Superman of Metropolis. So this one is really interesting. I read this one a few weeks ago. So it's not a spoiler to say that like Clark Kent, Kal-El, Superman is not around. We kind of already know where he is. There's a book coming out where looks like a gladiator. So this one, his son John Kent has kind of stepped up in Metropolis to be the Superman, like the Superman everyone needs.
And it feels like he's been there for a minute too.
Yeah. So. He's people know who he is. He's pretty established, but he's still young. He still makes mistakes, and of course, what happens when you don't have this main Superman that everyone knew and eventually came to love? People don't really accept a new Superman all that well, and let's just say John Kent makes an executive decision about something, and a lot of people are not happy with it. So this is a very interesting book. Definitely furthers the character of John Kent. I'll be really interested to see where this one goes because not a lot of people really like him. So it's really cool. The art's really good. And we do have a variant for it. I don't have it here. And I believe there is also a Wonder Woman variant for that one. Now, you read this one.
Yeah, so there's also Future State Swamp Thing. This is set way in the future. I know it sounds redundant. Most of the Future State books are set in 2025.
Yeah.
Some of them in 2030. This one is set way further in the future than that. It has a new Swamp Thing Supreme in it. It has a bunch of new Swamp Thing characters in it. It is an interesting book. The way I described it before is if you are a deep Swamp Thing fan, like you like that sort of, heady sort of comics, you will like it. They don't really take it in a new direction as far as the storytelling method, as far as what you expect of Swamp Thing, and I think that's a good thing. Like if I had read it and been like, oh, Swamp Thing, he puts on a cape and now he's just kind of a normal hero like everyone else. No, it is more than that. I mean, I think everybody who cares about Swamp Thing has to write him is in constant competition with Len Wein and Alan Moore.
Yeah,
that's the hardest competition you could be in. So they're trying to show you what would the far off future be like for Swamp Thing. That's the most I can tell you because honestly, I need to read the next one to
it's definitely
sort of settle it all out.
It's definitely not a superhero comic.
No,
it's very much more like your Vertigo era Swamp Thing.
Yes, a lot about what is with the green in the world.
Yeah, a little touch of horror, rather than superhero. So also out is Future State Harley Quinn. So this one is interesting. This is by Stephanie Phillips, who will be the writer on Harley Quinn when the new Harley Quinn series starts in March. But this is takes place around the 2025 mark, the year. So this is when there's a lot going on in Gotham with the Magistrate and the next Batman and Nightwing and what they're all doing there. Well, Harley Quinn, being kind of the good guy, bad guy she is kind of not recruited.
She's in trouble.
She's in trouble. Yeah.
She's caught. They kind of have her trying to they're trying to blackmail her into helping the magistrate, who,
right.
in essence, is the bad totalitarian police force.
Yeah, and clearly they figure Harley Quinn is the one they can capture and try to get her to work for him. Doesn't really work out.
A Bat family villain that you know tries to coerce her, and he's a smart guy, but is he smart enough to make Harley do what he wants her to do?
You can be smart, but you can't predict crazy.
Yeah.
And but also the artist of this is Simon DeMeo, who's the artist on We Only Find Them When They're Dead. Terrific artist. That's some of the best part of this issue is just the art.
The art, yeah, the art and the colors.
Yeah, definitely very like neon cyberpunk looking for this. So really, really cool. Future State Harley Quinn. I know we are already sold out of the main variant. We do still have, I think, a few of the Wonder Woman, Jenny Frison variants for that one too. And lastly, well, it feels like there's so many Future State, is Future State The Flash. Now, I think this is one of the only ones I haven't read.
Okay, I read that one. So, yeah, it's a lot of Flash characters in the future. There is a new major problem they're trying to solve. There's at least one sort of semi-major death in it. This does not involve the new Flash who will be in the Justice League. Yeah. He's not in this. This is about what's happening with all the other Flashes. What's going on with Jay Garrick and Wally West and all of them. In fact, I guess this doesn't really reveal too much because it's in the solicitation, but Wally West he's being turned evil by something. And it explores what is this thing turning him evil and what happens when he turns evil and can they stop him? So that's the general premise of it.
Okay, cool. So, yep, we have Flash #1, Future State Flash #1. I believe this one is also only a two-parter. Most of these are two-parters other than Next Batman and maybe Dark Detective. Like, there's only maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah, Dark Detective is more than a two-parter.
That are 4 parts.
Stay tuned. We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah. So there's going to be more fun next week with Future State, but I think that is all for this
Future
week.
State?
Yeah.
I do have some more. So this week Marvel launches the Eternals with just one cover. Ha ha ha.
No way.
The Eternals, I think it has 30 some covers, so don't even get me started on that. Now, I'm just going to talk about it as if it's just one cover till the end, then I'll show you a few others. So this is written by Kieran Gillen. With I believe the art was Assad Ribic. So good writer, good artist on it. Okay, so I want to talk about their work aside from the 32 covers. I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was a very good read. Don't know the most about Eternals. That's the sort of part of the Marvel universe. You know, I dabbled in them, but I don't know a lot about it. This is a really good one to catch you up. It's one of these things where half of it is sort of a new driving story and the other half is them giving you sort of details of things that have happened, and not just in the far past, not just the Kirby days, but also the Neil Gaiman Eternals. You get the sense, oh, there's a lot I missed that they're not forgetting about, they're not writing off, yet at the same time they're not pushing it down my throat.
Right, yeah. So
the Eternals were created by the Celestials. Basically, the Celestials seeded our planet with 100 Eternals and 100 of these things called deviants. The best way to describe deviants are, and they actually do this in the book, they compare them to gremlins and mogwai. Most deviants are good. They're mogwai. But if the wrong things happen, they go bad.
They eat after midnight.
And, right. The Eternals are there to stop them. So I thought that was a great way. I mean, that's some of the good writing in this that Kieran Gillen's like, how can I explain these to people? And
I mean, they were set up really bad being called the Deviants from the beginning. Like, you didn't have high hopes for them.
Yeah, so the interesting thing is the Celestials, apparently in whatever was the last arc of Eternals, it became known that the Celestials don't need them anymore. So
Mm.
here are these people, they've been erased, they're immortal, they've been around forever, they're not needed anymore. So what becomes of them? That's what this series is about. Right off the bat, I will say there is a shocking murder. There is a major Marvel character who makes a return at the very end of this. Um, so I thought it was good. I have to say, I rate this high. I think it was really cool. I look forward to the next issue. I now know who some of the Eternals are and what. There's a cool two-page spread where it shows all 100 of the different Eternals, their names, and what houses they are in or what sort of factions they're in.
Gryffindor, Hufflepuff. Yeah, I get
There's a
it.
lot of them, though. It also shows how they travel. It shows their teleportation system and where it can take them. So I have to say, the team, they're doing a lot for this. This book is sort of, in a way, doomed because it was tied to the movie. It was supposed to come out along the same timeline as a movie. They pushed it back, and after you pay your artists and writers for so long, you just have to move it along.
Yeah.
So Marvel's finally putting it out. It doesn't have the movie behind it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's so far out. I don't think anybody's going to buy it for that. So I will say, if you just want a kind of a cool read, a new sort of leg of the Marvel universe to learn about early, I think that's it. So now let me show you what incentive ones we have from it. I'm not going to show you all the non-incentives. There's too many of them. We have the Premier variant for $10. Just going to show these quickly. We have the one per store Ramos Party variant for $15.
It's like they're playing a little bit off of the death metal heroes in a band idea.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to see people partying on it. A lot of the party variants are not actually partying. Here's the 1 in 10 design variant.
Is that little character Sprite in the book?
Yes, that is Sprite.
Okay.
Sprite is back.
Big fan of his beverage.
It's a her, but
Okay.
here is the 1 in 25 a Kazaki variant.
That one's very interesting with Daredevil on it.
Yeah, I feel like maybe with 32 covers they were running out of Eternals. They're like, we only have 100. Let's get Daredevil on one. The 1 in 25 Inhyuk Lee variant for just $10. And I tried not to show too many. I'm still showing too many. The 1 in 25 Jen Bartel variant for $10. Okay, here's a really cool one. Here is the 1 in 50 Peach Momoko variant for $25. That was definitely my favorite one.
That was really cool.
Yeah, that's sort of like the King Head Eternal right there.
Mm-hmm.
The 1 in 50 Palacier variant for $15. And second to lastly, the 1 in 50, this is another great one, Boss Logic for $20.
Sounds like a straight up video game. Like,
yeah.
I want to play it.
Taking care of the Celestials.
Yep.
But now the Celestials don't care about you. And lastly, for $12, we have the 1 in 50 John Ramada Jr. variant. So that is all the Eternals goodness. So even though I like the book, I mean, so many covers. So many covers.
In a week filled with books and covers galore.
Oh, I see Davis wants the Momoko. Okay, so I think that is our show for this week. We tried to go a little faster than normal because we know how much stuff was on, but it was
still a lot.
I do have one other variant I want to show off. That we didn't talk about this, but it looks so cool. Here is the Iron Man variant, the 1 in 25 Cho variant showing Hellcat on it. Look how stylish that is. So we have one of these for $25 if anybody wants it. So I'm glad I remembered that before we went off. But all right, so thank you very much. If you're watching us live on Facebook, we appreciate it. If you're watching us later on YouTube, we appreciate you as well. Please subscribe. We do this show every single Tuesday. Every Friday, we do a show called Comics from the Future, where we highlight all the comics that are coming out when they're still available to order, as many as you want.
I think we talked about every one of these.
We did. Yeah, if you go back enough weeks, you will find we talked about all these. People had the chance to order as many Star Wars High Republic and all its variants we showed as they wanted to. And some people did, and good for them. I know I did. But thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day. If you're local, stop on by and let's talk comics. If you're not, just hit us up through Facebook or email.
Be happy to help you out. Get whatever we can for you.
Yep, indeed. Until next time.
I know. I was thinking about it. I was like, I can't be like, do the screen.